Welcome to Empower Coaching. Empower Coaching combines mental and physical fitness to help you connect the dots to unveil a more confident, energized and empowered version of you. So if you're ready, let's get into today's episode. Hello and welcome to Empowering You with Emma. So today's show is actually one that I recorded I think maybe 1 or 2 months ago now, and I'm going to be honest with you, I thought that I had uploaded it, and when I was looking through my episodes the other day, I came across it and it said draft. So then I looked through all of my episodes and there wasn't anything there. So I do apologise, but I still really do want to publish this episode because I believe it's a really important one. So we're talking all about self-empowerment, and the reason why I recorded this podcast is because that's really what my coaching is all about. Empower Coaching is about learning how to find self-empowerment, the importance of it, and how it can be truly healing to you as an individual. So I do really want this to still go out, so I am going to publish it. So I think I talk about maybe my group on Facebook that most of you listeners now will already know about, so do bear with. But yes, there's some really key points in there on how to be able to achieve self-empowerment, what it means, and when you can truly know that you have reached that point. So I hope you enjoy this show today. And of course, if you have any questions about it, you know where to find me, Empower Coaching UK on Instagram and Facebook. And you can also send me an email, empowercoachingteam@gmail.com. I really hope you enjoy the show, and so here it is. Hello and welcome to another episode of Empowering You with Emma. So I hope we're all doing well. Thank you again for checking in with me and supporting me on this podcast and for sharing it with your friends. I've had some great feedback recently and it means the world to me. So yeah, thank you guys so much for that. Also, just in case you didn't know, I'm going to throw it out there, but I have recently launched a new women's health and fitness support group over on Facebook. So it's called Empowered Together, obviously by Empower Coaching. And it's a women's only private Facebook group. And it's basically a group that has been created to provide a safe space for women to join together, to ask questions, to seek advice, to share their journeys, get involved with monthly workshops, get involved with live Q&As, and basically build your own support network of females who are sharing a similar goal to you. So that's all over on my Facebook, and there will be a link as well in the show notes that you can just click on, obviously, to head on over there if you are interested in joining. It is women only, so sorry guys, to the guys who listen to this. Obviously my advice is always on hand for everyone, but this group is specifically just for women only. So yeah, go and check that out. So on today's episode, I want to talk about self-empowerment. Now, the name in my coaching, Empower Coaching, it's all about empowerment. So I kind of thought it might be time to do an episode on empowerment, self-empowerment, and what it actually means, and try and clear that up for some people. And then you will understand a little bit better about where I'm coming from and my aims and my missions with my coaching business. So we'll dive straight into it. Now, I am specifically talking about how I use exercise for self-development because for me, that's what it was that helped me to discover empowerment. So I am specifically talking about exercise, but obtaining self-empowerment or being empowered can come from various forms. So it doesn't just have to be from exercise, but that's my experience, and I can only talk about my experience and share that story with you. So I'll also include a few steps that you can go away and start actioning or thinking about with regards to starting your own journey to feeling more empowered, and how we can kind of identify when we have reached that point of being empowered, if it's something that you might struggle with being able to recognize yourself. So, being empowered, if we look at the definition of empowerment, that is authority or power given to someone to do something. So then if we look at self-empowerment, that basically is where we act on our own authority. And it's about taking control of our own lives and having the power to decide what it is that we want and doing something about it. And it comes from converting our intentions or our desires into action. So it's doing something about it. It's taking control of our lives, building the life that we want, and being responsible for making that happen, pretty much. So if we just go back a few years, before all this really happened for me, around 10 years ago, I developed an eating disorder, as some of you will already know, called bulimia. And this had a very negative impact on my life. It affected my relationships, my health, my quality of life. And I pretty much hit rock bottom with it. And, it was in this instance that I kind of knew that I had to make a change and I had to do something about it. And no one else was capable of solving my problem. It was my problem, and the resolution had to come from me. So I recognized that I was destroying my health, and therefore I needed to take action to try and improve it, because I understood that health is important, and if I continued on this path that I was on, there was going to be some serious consequences to come from that. So I knew that I had to take action and I had to start making improvements to my health. And I'll admit that at first I had absolutely no idea of the outcome, because, I was at that point where I truly believed that I was never, ever going to escape bulimia. I thought this was just a part of me and I was going to live with this forever, because that was based on the times that I had tried to resolve my problems before and had failed. So I honestly didn't think that I would ever be able to overcome it. So I had no idea how it was all, going to end up. But I took a shot anyway, because I had nothing to lose. And it just so happened to be the best decision that I ever made. And I took each day as it came. I set myself small, realistic goals, and I introduced healthy habits, quote unquote, such as drinking more water, eating more fruit and veg, and exercising. So very, very simple goals to make, and I just took it day by day. But these changes alone just made me feel so much more positive about myself. Now, it was a personal trainer who introduced me to weightlifting. Thank you. I will forever be grateful. And it was weightlifting that introduced me to that feeling of power. And I can't fully explain the feeling, as it's just different for everyone. But when you know what I'm talking about. So a weightlifting session would leave me feeling powerful, strong, and confident. And yes, it may have been short-lived, but it was a bloody good feeling, and I was addicted to it, and I wanted more of it. I wanted to keep going back. I was learning what my body was capable of and how functional and mobile it was. And when your body feels good, you feel good. And when you feel good, you feel more powerful. And with this power comes confidence, and the confidence enables you to push further and continue to progress. So you can see how step by step you're building yourself back up. Don't get me wrong, there's going to be days where it's not quite like that. But as I say, it's each day as it comes. So since introducing the weightlifting into my life at that point, my whole focus changed. My whole focus. So I was better able to manage my emotions. So whenever I felt angry, whenever I was feeling sad, I would go to the gym, I would do a workout, I would exercise, and I wouldn't say it would resolve my problems, but it certainly left me feeling and being in a better state of mind than I was prior to doing it. So it's not going to happen for everyone, but for me, that was my savior. Those weightlifting sessions were my savior. And as the weeks went by, I kept account of how long it had been since the relapse, and honestly, just completing one day without a relapse was huge. 1 week, amazing. But before I knew it, I was 1 year on from a relapse, and I was just feeling my best ever self. I was feeling so, so good. I'm now 10 years down the line and very confident in saying that I am bulimia free. So there are many areas of your life in which, personal empowerment can be obtained and how it will benefit you. However, as my story comes from how exercise helped me and helped me to build up my own empowerment, we're going to look at how to use exercise as a strategy for building self-empowerment. Now, there are a few steps that you can take to start working on your way to self-empowerment. So we're going to have a look at these and we're going to go through them one by one. So, number one, get to know yourself. This is absolutely key for self-empowerment and is why that's why we must start with this. You have to first identify who you are. That's a bloody task in itself. I can hear a lot of you just like going, what? We don't always fully know who we are or, who we want to be. And so that is a task in itself. And you must start with that as your number one step. You have to be able to understand what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, and what your limits are. To take control, you must first understand the person who you are controlling. So you have to understand you. So once you've done that, again, task in itself, but once you've done that, number two is to identify what you want. Now, again, this is another very big, a very big task to take because, it's very common to hear, at least across a lot of clients that I have, one of their issues is that they don't know what they want. So that takes some work in itself, is to sit down and really identify what it is that you want. For you to be able to create your path and to shape your future, you have to understand what that looks like, and you have to understand what it is that you actually want, because you can never really be fulfilled and you can never really be satisfied if you don't have that direction and you don't really know what you're working towards. Don't get me wrong, just because you've decided now what it is that you want out of life and that doesn't happen, things are going to change. In a year's time, you might be thinking completely differently, but that doesn't matter. As long as you still understand what it is that you want, then if it changes, that's totally fine. So identify what you want. And that means, you've got to take everyone and everything out of the picture. What is it that you want out of life? How do you want your story to unfold? What are your desires? So knowing this will also help you to identify what skills and knowledge you might require in order to actually achieve the desired outcome as well. So do you need to reach out to people to gain knowledge? Do you need to take up a new course to develop your skills to enable you to be able to take the path that you want to go down? Number three, create habits that turn your intentions into actions. So you know who you are. Yay. You've identified what it is that you want. So you have your intentions now. Now it's all about putting those intentions into actions. And you can do this by creating habits that you do on a daily basis that are continuing to work towards your intentions. You are making an action on a daily basis. Self-empowerment is all about taking action. That's what it's about. It's being responsible and taking control of how you want things to be. And the best way to do this is to be realistic and set SMART goals. Now, if you don't know what a SMART goal is, you can do a little Google search. Loads of exercises will come up on there to help you understand and plan your SMART goals. But I did also do a podcast on this a few podcasts ago. You might have to scroll through. I don't know exactly when it was, but I have done a podcast on goals. So maybe if you do a search in the search bar on my podcast and you just type in goals, it should come up with that. And yeah, there's advice in there about SMART goals and how to implement them. But basically, these are achievable step-by-step goals that gradually lead up to your desired outcome. So they are the stepping stones effectively towards your outcome. So number 4, you've got your habits in place. You know what you want. You're working towards it. Now you've got to be resilient and patient with your goals. Empowerment is about having the power of control. So it's not allowing knockbacks or obstacles, to take over. It's about finding new ways to move forward and overcome these. So, rather than beating yourself up for failing, quote unquote, at your initial goal, get your thinking cap on, devise a plan, work around it, and keep moving forward. By doing this, you're just going back to the drawing board. You're not going back to square one. Number 5, then, is to assess your actions. It's really, really important to continue to assess your actions so that you can recognize the change and or the impact that these actions are having on not only yourself, but on those around you and the events in your life as well. So looking at how far you have come, just that alone provides a boost of confidence. Take time to acknowledge your achievements and remind yourself that you are on the right track and that you are still in control. So now that hopefully, now that you understand the building blocks, how do you know when you are empowered? How do you know when you have reached that point where you can say that you are empowered? I mean, only you're going to know this because everyone is unique and only you'll be able to recognize this. But there are measures that we can use as a guide because these are all signs of an individual who expresses empowerment. So let's have a look at these. So, number 1, self-awareness. So, being self-aware means that you are fully aware of who you are and what you want. So if you can safely say that, if you can say, I know who I am, I know what I want, then that is self-awareness. Now, for health, this may be knowing what your current situation is and what it is that you want to achieve. It may also involve holding yourself accountable for your current state as well. So, taking responsibility and understanding that where you are might not be ideal, but it's you who got you there and it's you who's going to get you out of there. And it's understanding what it is that your body and what your mind is actually capable of and how you respond to challenging situations. So, for example, you might recognize that you're unfit and you know what your weaknesses are. You know why you're unfit, why you're not exercising, why you're eating the wrong foods. And you know what it is that you want to become, and you're aware of the obstacles that you may face. So it's having self-awareness. It's understanding the situation that you're in. It's understanding where you want to be, and it's understanding how to get there, or at least the things that are going to stop you or prevent you from being there. So number 2, values and beliefs about yourself. So someone who is empowered believes and values themselves. They have full belief in themselves and they respect themselves as an individual. So It also means that you're aware of your worth. So you know your worth and you know what you are able to achieve. Now, exercise opens doors and it helps us to create these positive beliefs about ourselves. It can help us to identify what our bodies can achieve and how valuable good health is. So it helps us to understand that we must look after ourselves and that we are worthy of having good health, with regards to exercise and health anyway. So number 3, individual skills. So by this we mean that you know how to acquire information to enable you to progress and action your desires. So you build on your skills and your personal development. Now, exercise can really help with that because it helps with cognitive functioning, such as concentration, problem solving, coordination, and reaction as well. So all of these are transferable skills for day-to-day life. So actually what we develop through exercise and the skills that we can develop from exercise can help us with the functioning of our brain and can be transferred into skills that are required for day-to-day life, which may also be required for you to achieve the goals that you have set yourself and what you want to get out of life. So number 4 is confidence, the big one. So by this we mean that when you're empowered, you are confident in your capabilities and you are willing to test these as well. So you don't let fear hold you back from anything. Now, exercise is an easy way, I would say, to measure your health progress because you are able to set small weekly goals that you can continue to develop your abilities. And, these small achievements provide a boost of confidence in themselves. So exercise can help you to achieve that confidence. And it's not just about how you look and how it's boosted your confidence because it's making you feel better and look better. It's about how you are functioning and how you are improving your day-to-day life as well. So there we go. So you've got the building blocks of where to get started if you want to start working towards self-empowerment. And you've also now got some signs to understand when you have reached self-empowerment. So hopefully you can go away from this podcast today and you can start actioning those steps that we have discussed and that we have spoken about in today's podcast. But hopefully, this has provided you with some advice. It's given you a better understanding of empowerment and what self-empowerment truly means and how you can obtain it. I'm not going to say it's easy. I'm not going to say that it's going to happen overnight, but hopefully, with these tips that I've given you today, you can go away and you can start working on that. And, hopefully that will help you to become more empowered. And that's what it's all about. And honestly, when you start working towards that and when you start to really build on your self-empowerment, I guarantee you that, your quality of life is going to improve because you're going to have a purpose there. You're going to be working towards a purpose. You're taking ownership of your life. You're creating and shaping the life that you want. And there is a big difference from someone who does that and takes that action and takes their life into their own hands, in comparison to someone who just lets the days roll over and just lets the world control them pretty much. There are going to be obstacles that come your way. That's life. Unfortunately, we cannot control every aspect of our life. But again, empowerment is how you respond to that as well. So, you will hit some obstacles and the path that you set out won't be as smooth as it might come across in this podcast. It's going to get rocky at times, but that's another side of empowerment, is how you actually respond to that and how you let that affect you. You're taking control of how you let those emotions control your actions, and how you choose to either stop and let it take over your life, or how you decide to say, do you know what, that's fine, the course has changed. I'm now going to look at how I can move forward in a different way. How can I get over this obstacle and move forward? And then it all starts again. And then you start your goals again, and you hit your goals, and your confidence boosts, and you take that responsibility. And yeah, it's just an amazing feeling. So hopefully I have inspired some of you to start taking more control of your own life, and to really think about how you are responding to your current situations right now. Are you sitting there playing victims, or are you taking it into your own hands and dealing with it in the way that you want to deal with it, and not how the world is making you deal with it? So we're coming to the end of the podcast, and yeah, I hope you've really enjoyed today's show. As always, you can come and connect with me over on Facebook or on Instagram. Again, all of the links are in the show notes at the bottom, but my Instagram is Em.Powercoaching UK, and it's the exact same for Facebook as well. Just a reminder about the women's support group that I've just launched on Facebook. So it's called Empowered Together. And it's just a fantastic community of women who are all there to support other women, to lift each other up. There's no judging going on in here, no intimidation. Women from various backgrounds, age, race, religion, everything. The group is for everyone, no matter what your fitness background is. You might not even have one. It's not just about exercise and nutrition in there. It's about, women's health in general, well-being, how we can look after ourselves both mentally and physically, and just provide a support network for women. Because at the end of the day, yes, we can set our own goals and we can achieve them ourselves, but everything is stronger when it's done together. So when we do things as a team, we're more likely to stay more motivated, to hold each other accountable, and chances of achieving our goals are going to be far greater when we are doing it with someone else and with a support network. So yeah, really great group over there. I'm fully aware that, a lot of people are struggling with motivation right now. There's been a lot going on, and motivation has been at an all-time low. So this is a really great group just to try and, boost that back up and give you a little bit of inspiration, along with some advice and tips along the way as well. So definitely check that out. And I think that's everything from me today. So yeah, come and reach out, come and connect with me. Again, when you share this podcast with people, or you just screenshot it and share it onto your stories, it goes such a long way. Honestly, it takes like 2 seconds of your time, but you don't understand how grateful I am when you do that. Because, word of mouth is everything at the minute. And having your support and seeing you guys share the podcast and leaving your reviews, it just means the world to me. So thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. And yeah, I'm going to leave it there before I ramble on anymore. All the links are in my show notes, so do go check them out. If you want to delve more into self-empowerment, I've also put some links in the show notes there as well, so you can do some further reading and research of your own. But I really hope that this episode has been inspirational for you guys, and I will check back with you next week. So have a great day, and I will connect with you next week. Bye.